Welcome to another edition of SAT-TV News. I'm Alicia George. Thanks for joining us. In our top stories, 6 Dominicans to pursue medical studies in Cuba. Alleged firebomber Dennis Shillingford shackled to hospital bed. From the region, St. Kitts and Nevis PM and Premier square off in Parliament. And internationally, American journalists beheaded by ISIS militants. In sports, 2 local FIFA referees to officiate CFU matches. Details of these and other stories will follow. Welcome back. In the next few days, the 6 Dominicans will travel to Cuba to pursue studies at the Latin American School of Medicine for the next 7 years. The Cuban embassy in Dominica, the government of Cuba, has afforded Kurt Jean-Marie, Lyndon August, Lisa Labassiere, Dylan Hippolyte, Aline Farrell, and Shamaya Rabes scholarships to continue their medical studies in Cuba. Speaking at the scholarship presentation on Wednesday, Cuban ambassador to Dominica, Joana Elena Ramos, said every year the Cuban government offers scholarships to young people from sister nations.
Cuban Scholarship Program began in Dominica in 1979, when the first 11 young Dominicans went to Cuba to study in various disciplines. Throughout these 35 years, a total of 332 Dominicans have graduated from Cuban universities, 73 of them in medicine.
Ramos said 46 Dominicans are currently pursuing various disciplines in Cuba, with an additional 4 students enrolled in medical specialties. The scholarships include full tuition, accommodation, books, 3 daily meals, and a stipend. Meanwhile, parents of the scholarship recipients expressed gratitude for the opportunity afforded to their children.
I think it's awesome, and it's a privilege, to be here this morning to really, see how thankful we are. We understand that medical education is not cheap, and the average Dominican cannot afford medical education. And here it is that the Cuban government, has awarded scholarships, so many scholarships, I think maybe in hundreds, to Dominican students.
President of the National Youth Council of Dominica, Josiah Benoit, said he hopes that the students can return to an enabling environment that will allow them to become entrepreneurs.
I am very confident that you have been selected because you have the requisite skills and the character. I want to encourage you to stick true to your character as you go to Cuba and hold firm to your discipline, your field of study. And I'm sure that, we'll continue working to ensure that by the time you come back, the enabling environment will be there for you to create a job. But in as much as I can say that, it would be remiss of me if I did not encourage you as you pursue your tertiary education in your own particular fields. Always maintain a mindset towards entrepreneurship.
The Latin American School of Medicine enrolls 1,349 students to date. Dennis Shillingford, the man at the center of the firebombing incident of former magistrate Glensworth Emmanuel, is expressing concern about efforts by local police to have him under shackles at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Shillingford, who is currently nursing wounds at the hospital following a shooting incident in St. Joseph on Thursday, August 8th, is crying foul on 2 police officers who shackled him to his hospital bed. He said the officers who came to visit him on the evening of Tuesday, August 19th at about 7:30 p.m. informed him that he was under arrest and subsequently shackled his leg to his bedside rails.
He didn't say anything to me. He said, Shillingford, you're under arrest and we're going to put the shackles on you. So what I'm under arrest for? I'm there almost 2 weeks now, going on 2 weeks. This Friday in 2 weeks. They're like, that's not for you to know. We are going to put the shackle, we are advised to put the shackle on you. And come, let us put the shackle on you. So I'm like, no, I need this leg free up, put it on the hand, put it on the other hand. And you never place it on the hand, it's on the foot. And I have a sick leg already. And these officers, they never introduced themselves to me. As to say, tell me the name, but they just let me know they are police officers in military clothes.
He said although he attempted to pull up his left leg to prevent the police officers from confining him to the bed, they got physical, with one pulling his leg while the other slapped him behind the head. Shillingford said the police officers failed to identify themselves. He added since the shooting incident, he gave 2 statements to police officers on 2 separate occasions. Shillingford also alleged to have been victimized by task force police officers.
They never told me the name neither. and they tell me that they're to search for narcotics. I was like, how can I have narcotics? You want to search for search? But still you can search and harass me in the hospital. They lift my bed to one side, have me canteen and holding this bar. I was like, officer, you guys are hitting me. And they never even take me on. I'm like, doctor, why you have the officers doing that? The doctor just give me a wave like, he can't do anything right now. And they really rough me up. They pull out my drawers, pull out everything, show them everything. And I was like, why you guys are doing this to me? I just break down in tears. Yeah, it was really hard and painful.
He added during this incident his injured leg was dislocated and had to receive further medical attention. President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, DHTA, Gregor Nassif, says he would like to see the government remove value-added tax, VAT, in other areas where it affects local hoteliers. He noted while the DHTA welcomes the decision by government in the 2014-2015 national budget to remove VAT effective September 1st, 2014 on the service charge, which is charged by hotels, there are other areas where VAT needs to be removed and or reduced.
Our VAT rate is 10% on rooms and 15% on everything else. In Barbados, it's 7.5% across the board. In St. Lucia, it's 10% across the board. We would like, as an industry, to get to 7.5%. And again, it has to be done in the context of all of us believing that tourism represents Dominica's future in terms of being able to carry our economy for the next 10 or 15 years. The sector needs support. We need to be competitive. So if someone is searching to stay at a hotel in Barbados versus here, just the taxes make the cost of our room a lot more expensive.
Nassif is suggesting a possible collaboration with the relevant authorities in realizing a harmonized or lowered VAT. The DHD also wants relief on the application of VAT on meals provided to staff at no cost and on complimentary rooms.
VAT has an issue with this, and they are saying that even though meals are provided at no cost, the value of the meal should be assessed and VATable. Now, this is a very serious issue. Both service charge and staff meals have a direct impact on staff, on workers. Okay, so you have some hotels who are investing in their staff, who are providing meals to their staff free of charge based on the high demands of the hotel industry and the restaurant industry. And on top of that, there's a tax that apparently we have to pay.
Nassif said the association is also concerned about a decision by the VAT unit to now collect service charge taxes not collected from 2002 to present.
So audits are being done on previous years, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and they're insisting that on service charge, on meals, on complimentary rooms, where no VAT has been collected, that these hotels must now come up with that money and pay VAT with interest and also penalties. So you can imagine the potential financial exposure of a property over the period of 8 years. It is very, very significant.
He added the DHTA remains hopeful that discussions with the relevant authorities will lead to the repeal of VAT on service charge, staff meals, and complimentary rooms provided to travel trade professionals. Christina Bethel of La Plaine received a $1,000 secondary school scholarship from a group of Dominicans and diaspora on Saturday, August 16th. Bethel is the first individual to receive a scholarship from the newly formed Labour Party affiliated group. During a ceremony at the La Plaine Agricultural Training Center, chairman of the group, Mervyn Paul, said he is confident that the scholarship will go to good use.
Our hope is that whatever presentation is made today will be put into good use and will go a long way in enhancing the opportunity given to this child to go to school.
Paul said the group is interested in the development of the country and contribution to youth development through education.
We decided that we needed to show, one, our gratitude for what Dominica has done and continues to do for us, support the government in what they're doing in the area of human resource development, as well as giving back to constituencies or communities, whatever it is. In this case, it is the La Plaine constituency whose going to be the first recipient of the scholarship.
Other individuals receive school supplies, including books, pens, pencils, and sharpeners. The group hopes to make an annual contribution towards education in other communities in the coming years. When we return, the Bernard Sorendo Memorial Lecture to focus on obesity. Thanks for staying with us. This year, the Bernard Sorendo Memorial Lecture will highlight obesity in the Caribbean under the theme Obesity, a Caribbean Dilemma. The annual event is expected to take place this Thursday at the University of the West Indies, UWI Open Campus in Dominica at 7:30 p.m. Marketing and Outreach Officer at UWI Open Campus Dominica, Kimon Joseph, told SAT-TV News the memorial is in celebration of a man who has contributed greatly to Dominica.
Our 7th annual Bernard Sorendo Memorial Lecture is in the memory of Bernard Sorendo, who was the first UWI graduate from Dominica and was a celebrated doctor on the island. And Dr. Sorendo was an advocate for healthcare and the provision of healthcare for all Dominicans. And he was also an advocate of healthy lifestyles and living well.
According to Joseph, the topic Obesity, a Caribbean Dilemma was chosen upon realizing that obesity has become a real problem among Caribbean people.
The topic Obesity, a Caribbean Dilemma was chosen by the UWI Open Campus and the lecturer, Dr. Raghubar Singh, because we realize that in the Caribbean presently, obesity is a huge problem and it is linked to so many diseases and so many health issues, and we really need to address the issue of obesity, what causes it and how it relates to so many illnesses that we have in the Caribbean today.
This year, Professor Dalip Raghubar Singh, Professor of Medical Biochemistry and Diabetology and Director of the Diabetes Education Program at UWI Mona, will present the lecture. Joseph believes Professor Raghubar Singh is well qualified to speak on the topic of obesity.
He does a lot of research in the area of diabetes, and his research focuses on how to get people healthy, people living with diabetes, to get them healthy, and to also prevent the disease among Caribbean people. So he's done extensive research in that area, and so he's very qualified to speak on the issue of obesity in the Caribbean.
The lecture is organized by the UWI Open Campus Dominica in association with the Dominica Medical Association and Optical Services, and will take place on Thursday, August 21st from 7:30 p.m. at the Fort Young Hotel's conference room. In more local news, Amika Labadi is now fully prepared for the new school year as she was presented with a scholarship from Dominica's Soul Pawn Shop Cash Whiz on August 20th. This was made possible courtesy the company's back-to-school promotion, where customers had to purchase any item in the store with $500 or more to participate. Lynpia Alphonse, manager of Cash Whiz Dominica, said the draw was the first of its kind for the company.
The draw ran from June 23rd to August 16th. We had our winner here this morning with us, and that person was Mr. Miguel Labadi. The scholarship promotion encompassed a check as well as school supplies to a child of the individual, or if the individual did not have a child, then someone needy would have gotten that scholarship. The scholarship also is not a one-time thing. It's going to be annually as long as the child keeps up his or her grade, in this case, her grade.
Labadi's daughter also won herself a tablet, a gift she hoped for as her birthday is on Saturday, August 23rd. Alphonse said this was another way of giving back to the community.
One of the things I would love to let Dominicans know, as a business, as a pawn shop, we're Dominica's only pawn shop. Persons have a negative connotation with a pawn shop, but I'd like to encourage persons to come in and see what we do. We give back to our communities not only by supporting the Junior Achievement. We not only give back by supporting the Dominica Council on Aging, we give back in many ways. So come out. I'm actually appealing to the other businesses in Dominica to come out and help support the different institutions, and especially those who really need the assistance from the Dominican business places.
The Ministry of Education is working to initiate new ways of enabling secondary school students in Dominica to perform better at the Caribbean Secondary Examination Council (CSEC) examinations. That is according to Acting Chief Education Officer Melina Fontaine. The results of the CSEC examinations this year were generally good, with passes in mathematics being record high for the island. Speaking at a recent press conference, Fontaine said all secondary schools on the island showed an increased pass percentage, with the exception of 3 schools which maintained their average percentage. However, the Acting Chief Education Officer said improvements need to be made in all subject areas.
We would like to see our success rate continue that upward trend. And so, as Ministry of Education, we will continue to examine and employ the strategies that are contributing to the improvements that are producing those positive outcomes.
According to Fontaine, the ministry will examine strategies used by other Caribbean secondary schools which contribute to their successes at the CSEC examinations.
Other islands are also showing an increasing trend in performance, and therefore, we will also study what they have been doing that are contributing to their positive outcomes. We will continue to look at best practices, both nationally and regionally, to enable us to provide quality education to our students.
Fontaine noted that CSEC results are an important component in the future of the children and should be given paramount attention.
It is needed as entry requirements for jobs, even when you have a bachelor's degree and more, and tertiary education. And it is the task of the Ministry of Education to provide the enabling environment so that students leave secondary school with that entry requirement needed for their future.
The Acting Chief Education Officer said as part of the school development plan, secondary schools across the island will work with the Ministry of Education to collect information on CSEC results, which will aid in the ministry's approach to facilitating better performance at the examinations. This has been the local segment of the news.